Mixing horror and comedy can be fun. You write a few good jokes, make the monsters good and scary, and everyone goes home entertained. Your story doesn't even have to be that strong. You just have to tell it in an interesting way. Having someone do their best conspiracy theorist impression while showing us slideshows, that's not the way. Hello and welcome. Here I review new movies and television shows and try to release a new review every day from Monday to Friday. Today we're talking about Slayers. It's written and directed by K. Asher Levin and co-written by Zach Imbrogno. It stars Thomas Jane, Kara Hayward, and Jack Donnelly. Slayers is supposed to be a mix between horror and comedy set in a world with vampires. It does poorly on both fronts. Its story is sloppily told and extremely exposition heavy. The soundtrack and visuals are poorly done and there's nothing for the actors to do. Let's cover the plot before we get too far. Elliot Jones is a slayer who's seeking revenge on an elder vampire known as Stephen Rector. He's been after him for years but has never had a shot until now. A group of young internet celebrities has been invited into Rector's secret compound, and Jones sees his chance to sneak in and put an end to the vampire lord once and for all. It's an extremely simple plot, but the film's creators decided to overdose the audience with exposition, montages, flashbacks, ad breaks, and for some god-awful reason, a cut to some kid's YouTube reaction channel. The movie overuses and abuses the cutaway to a sickening degree. It has one every 5 minutes, and most of them are filled with useless information. They distract from the main storyline and give the entire film a random, annoying feeling. When it's not beating you over the head with cutaways, the screen usually has a character vomiting exposition everywhere. The film loves to sit you down for a good long lecture on vampirism, conspiracy theories, and several topics that sound a lot like your uncle's incoherent ramblings at Thanksgiving. It requires you to completely suspend your disbelief to watch it, and you can't think too much or else you'll realize that even the rules the film establishes aren't followed, and don't make any sense. Like how vampires are supposed to be faster and stronger than humans, and yet the old man is throwing them around like he's Hulk Hogan. Oh yeah, brother! The film spends so much time on exposition and cutaways that it forgets about its actors, and doesn't give them anything to do beyond setting up a stereotype. You can see the cast trying their best to make this shtick work, but the writing isn't there to support them, and they're constantly fighting the music just to be heard. This brings me to the soundtrack. It's got a wide variety of different genres with original songs. The problem is that they're all used just like the cutaways are. The music comes on randomly and at volumes that always clash with the dialogue, and rarely fit the mood of the scene. At times, the creators inserted background noise that just didn't make sense with the scene. For example, there's a scene where two characters are flirting in a room by themselves, but you can hear crowd noises in the background, like they're in a cafe or something. It ends up feeling like a club, so loud all you can think about is leaving. Visually, this film is a mess too. On top of the random and hectic feeling that the cutaways create, this film also suffers from a shaky camera and low quality action. The fights between the slayers and the vampires are shaky, choppy, and incredibly hard to follow. Most of the characters die off screen, with a scream and some blood splatter. The few characters who do die on screen are killed in comically soft ways with knives and stakes and copious amounts of fake blood. None of it looks real and it reminds me of cheesy old horror films. The makeup for the vampires doesn't help. They stuck a few long fake nails on them and color corrected their eyes during editing and called it a day. It looks really bad, and the photoshopping they did on montages for vampires was even worse. They just added little red fangs and colored their eyes red. The entire film feels like somebody tried to mash up a Blade with Beavis and Butthead. The jokes aren't funny and are often just mean. The constant cutaways are jarring, the soundtrack is way too loud, and there's no horror. The execution of this film is just too randomized to be enjoyable. 1 out of 10.